Now we stay on this topic. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has visited Lithuania's border with Belarus for talks with President Gitanas Nausėda. She has confirmed that the EU has channeled 3.7 billion euros from frozen Russian assets to Ukraine and said more support will follow, stressing that Moscow must ultimately pay for the damage it has caused. Lithuanian President Nausėda has said that Lithuania has applied for 8 billion euros in EU funding, with 7 billion to establish and develop its national division by 2030, and 1 billion to strengthen its border through a joint Baltic defense line with Poland. This visit came a day after von der Leyen's plane experienced GPS jamming while en route to Bulgaria. EU officials say Bulgarian authorities suspect blatant interference by Russia. However, Kremlin has just denied the jamming of her plane in a statement. Let's listen into what Ursula von der Leyen has said.
Right now, we take the windfall profits from the mobilized assets and we directly channel them to Ukraine, either for defense matters or for reconstruction matters. So far, 3.7 billion euros have been generated by windfall profits, and more is to come on a regular basis. But we are also reflecting on the next steps and best use of these assets, because one thing is very clear. Russia, the predator, has to be held accountable for what it did and has to pay. Has to pay for the damage and for the aggression. That has to be the principle, and therefore we are looking into an additional use of the windfall profits that are immobilized.
Now we go back to our guest discussion with Peter Cardillo. He's a chief market economist, and Andrew Latham, he's a professor of international relations, and Erik Solheim, he's a former Minister of Climate and the Environment of Norway. Now I would like to start my question with Erik. Erik, what does the EU's allocation of frozen Russian assets to Ukraine signal about its long-term strategy in this conflict? And if this happens, do you think we will see this conflict end anytime soon, or will it elongate this conflict?
To support Ukraine.
Yes.
I think, in my view, it's good that Europe is supporting Ukraine. What is wrong is that Europe is seeing the entire world with a Ukraine lens, as if the entire world was an appendix to Ukraine. There are many conflicts in the world. We have a horrible war in Sudan. There's conflict in Myanmar and in the Congo. Of course, Middle East and Gaza we see every day. It's not that Ukraine is the one and only war in the world, as it very often is portrayed in Europe. We have a number of wars, and we should try to bring all of them to a close, and we should defend the sovereignty of both Ukrainians as well as Palestinians. But Europe is right to support the independence of Ukraine. What is not right is, as I just said, to see everything as an appendix to Ukraine. And of course, the way Europe has acted in relationship to the United States is absolutely shameful, very short-sighted. Seeing this photo of all the top leaders of Europe sitting at the teacher Trump's desk in the White House as they were small school children, I think was an offense to most Europeans. Europeans want Europe to work with the United States, but we don't want to be seen as serfs, as slaves, as a tail to the United States, and that was what that photo signaled. Because, for two reasons: because Europeans were desperate to get American support for Ukraine, and because Europeans were desperate for a trade deal with the United States. But everyone knows that next week, next month, Trump will come up with some new issues, which will put, again, Europe on the back foot, unless Europe stands up and shows its own agency and creates respect by others and self-respect for itself.
Right. And Professor Andrew, what is your take? How might this financial support influence the dynamics on the ground? And what about what our other guest, Eric, just mentioned that some Europeans in Europe might hesitate such kind of support because it will be again backing US's alliance or US's arms deal and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I can't disagree terribly much with Eric's comments and take. The Europeans, like the Japanese and the South Koreans, rolled over when Donald Trump issued some of his ultimata, shall we say. And that emboldened him. And when he bumped into Modi in India, of course, he got a lot of pushback and he didn't react well to that. And so, you know, it matters. It also matters I don't think the diversion of these funds to Ukraine is going to be decisive in any way, shape, or form. There's more or less stalemate on the battlefield. The core issues on both sides are non-negotiable. I think perhaps the best we can hope for is a Korea-like outcome, in which we have a ceasefire that lasts now in Korea 70 plus years. It's not perfect. There's no resolution of the core issues. There are some important differences. There's a U.S. security guarantee for South Korea, 28,000 troops. That's not going to happen in Ukraine, but it's a kind of a model that we might want to pursue. More broadly speaking, I think Europe, like many other countries, political actors, not countries, has to find a way to navigate and negotiate this new evolving world order. What is the relationship going to be with the United States? How is it going to position itself vis-a-vis China? Again, Eric's correct that for most of the world, the war in Ukraine is just another European war. They don't really care about it that much. They've got their own regional conflicts that they're more focused on. And so they kind of resent, my sense is, the sense that the Ukraine war is the be-all and end-all, the most important thing in the world. I will say this about the SCO. President Putin was allowed to narrate the Russian perspective, that this is all about NATO expansion. It's about the Maidan uprising, as he put it, coup, as he called it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And nobody said boo. No pushback whatsoever. Now, if that's the kind of value that's going to be built into this SCO-initiated world order, it's not the kind of world most countries want to live in. Cutting against that, of course, President Xi has talked about the inviolability of borders and the sovereignty of nations, et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, he's slipping dual-use technology and diplomatic cover to Russia in this war as well. So sometimes one has to be careful about what one asks for in this world.
Yes, definitely. That was interesting. And thank you very much, as always, Professor Andrew Latham for joining us, and also Eric Solheim for joining us and sharing your insight throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to Middle East. Amid heightened regional tensions, thousands of mourners gathered in Yemen's capital, Sana'a, to attend the funeral of 12 senior Houthi officials, including Prime Minister Ahmed Ghalib al-Rahwi, killed in an Israeli airstrike last week. The strike comes as leaders convene for the 2025 Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, where regional stability and security are a part of the agenda. Acting Houthi leader Mohammed Miftah has accused the coalition of foreign intelligence agencies of orchestrating the attack and vowed retaliation. The Houthis have also detained multiple United Nations personnel in Sana'a, raising further international concern. This is all we have time for, but we will continue to bring you more news updates and the special coverage of the SCO Summit. Stay tuned.